You know, when two runners like live together, like they really like you end up having a lot of shoes everywhere. You know, I have even like my cowboy boots right here. You know, living in the U.S., I think if you don't have these by year two, I think you're doing something wrong. And I just like have these, and besides that, like I think these are my only like non-running shoes. You know, everything else is kind of just running shoes, you know, spikes, shoes, just everything kind of flying around. I always have to put these out here right now because of the snow and they get wet, you know. But now they're all dried up, so I can put it back on the stack. Yeah, so the singlet for tomorrow, I'm going to wear this old Nike Elite jersey. You know, usually I would say, you know, no free representation. And unfortunately, I don't have a singlet without any branding on it. And this is actually the only singlet that I have here that is not from the university. And I can't wear it, the university one, when I run unattached. So this is actually my only choice. But, you know, I like it. But you can see, like, we have clothes hanging in the apartment because we do a heat training, and when you do it multiple times a week, you know, two people, you always have a lot of clothes you have to dry after. So that's why the apartment is a little bit of a mess. But that's just the price you pay when you try out new things, want to get better. And I have a few posters over here. They're just like, you know, they're cool, you know, like they're cool. They're from like the 70s, 80s. But you know, they're also like a motivation, you know, like every day I look at them from across the room when I'm eating. So yeah, special place in my heart. These have a special place in my heart. I brought them from Germany. I'll take it back again to Germany. So this is where I like spend like a lot of time, though, like just on here on the couch, like just resting, eating. This is our dining table. You know, have my lactate scout. You know, this is really what kind of, you know, this is really important, of course, the lactate scout. It's an old school one as well. Like, not many people have this anymore, but, you know, these are still as good as the newer ones. You know, they have a very slight deviation in precision, but they're still really good, even though they're like a bit older. So yeah, the core body sensor as well, you know, and like a bit of old tech as well. Like, if you come over here, I just graduated from college last semester, so I'm proud of that, you know. But I'm also a fan of like old tech. Like, I have my 2DS right here, my iPod, and I have a CD player and like a tape player and my other iPod, which I really enjoy using. You know, you always get kind of like a bit of a different feeling, like using old tech like that. You know, so. This is our humble kitchen. Has everything we need, but also not more than that, to be honest. Yeah, this is the living quarter, the sleeping quarters right here. So this is where I recover. This is where I sleep every night. Now I'm currently, I always have a pretty good like evening routine with reading. Currently, I'm rereading this book. You know, Zen and the Art of Archery. It's a good book. I feel like the first time I read it, especially, I didn't really understand most of the things, and even now, I think I will have to reread it again to really truly understand. I also have my e-reader here, which I usually actually read on. Yeah. Now I'm also like a Pokemon fan. Like, I have this like old tape from like the Wake Up Snorlax episode, and like another one. I think it's 2 episodes. I've never watched it, you know, like I don't have a tape player, but I thought it was just kind of nice to have. I saw it at the thrift, so I bought it. And I have some more Pokemon memorabilia, like this Blaziken EX, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just like you don't need much, like for a living. Honestly, like I feel like this is enough. I wish I had maybe like one more closet I could put some things away in, but yeah. Besides that, I think this is really good setup for me. Just having my lunchtime green tea. It's 12 o'clock. And yeah. It's good. I came to the US 4 years ago, like thinking, oh, if I come here, I train with all these college guys. I'm just gonna become good, like right away. And I came and it was like a pretty big disillusionment, like right away. I remember my first semester. I thought, like NCAAs, whatever, all these things are not that far out of reach. And then I started my indoor season and just like, I saw like, just the way things are, like different. And yeah, I just realized it was going to be a bit more of a rocky road. I think my first year especially, I kind of just lost my way a little bit, coming from the system in Germany, especially like in Dortmund at the time. Like it was very, very straightforward, very linear, really good system, at the time. And I wanted more, and I thought breaking out of that system would allow me to grow, and it did allow me to grow, just not the way I thought it would. Yeah, for me, I always thought, like in the US, it's quite easy to get fast and to get better. But then you realize the people in the US are only so fast and progress like a lot because there's so many of them. So you only see the few like lucky breakouts, and you think it's everybody. But then you realize there's like, tens of thousands of people like trying, and really not many people make it. The last 2 years for me were really like not good, like running wise and health wise. I've never been injured before. I haven't had any like major like health issues. Like I don't ever get sick. Like I rarely get sick. And a pretty smooth path until I would say about like 2 years ago, and I was just under a lot of stress, and I got like really sick from it, just from the stress, and it put me in the hospital, and that was kind of my first like kind of sign like things weren't going good. And then I came to Missouri, and I was like kind of battling back from the illness I had, and it just things progressed fine, and then the last winter hit, and things kind of went like bad again, and I developed like breathing issues, vocal cord dysfunction, and it was just another setback, another like kind of like larger setback for me.
2 runs every day for the week, and
running well indoors last year. Not as well as I would have liked to over the longer distances. My 800 progress, which was really good, but the longer distances were still lacking. Like, I feel like, yeah, something was missing still, some piece of the puzzle, and I was hoping, like, I had bigger hopes for outdoor. And then outdoor hit, and I started out really well, and then things also kind of just didn't go the way that I thought they would. You know, I started out really well, and I thought I would progress throughout the season, but my progress went backwards throughout the season, and I ended up at the end of the season running slower than at the beginning, which is never a great sign. You know, it's a bit of a sign of burnout and stuff like that. And yeah. Also during that time, I had my first injury. So, you know, I injured my hamstring tendon, and, you know, I thought it was going to be like a pretty quick turnaround. Like, I just take 2 weeks off after the season, and then I'm going to be fine. And then it kind of like dragged on for a couple more weeks after, and then I actually had to like get a PRP injection, take a break, off running for 8 weeks, which was, you know, the longest I've ever taken off in my career at that point. And I truly hope I hope I don't have to take off that long again, because it really kind of sucked. But I think taking the time off and having those setbacks, I think, really put me on the right path. Like, I think in the 8 weeks I couldn't run. I was in the pool every day, sometimes twice a day. You know, like, I think I really found my true, like, passion there. I was really like, I really love this running thing. Like, it's actually my biggest passion, like, I ever had in life with anything. And it would be silly to not, like, go all in on that, you know, and not in an unsustainable way, but rather in a sustainable way, and thinking about it long term, and really finding one's own place in it, you know. Like, I don't need to, like, look at other people or think, oh, you know, I have to, like, achieve these certain things at least these certain times. Like, it's a long-term approach, and I'm in it for the long run, and, you know, I hope I can still do this, like, for a really long time at, like, the highest level I can imagine. I think that was a big thing I learned, is, like, I don't do this for anything. Like, I do this for me, and, like, you know, you have one life, and I do this because, like, I think this is how I want to spend my life, you know. And I want to be involved, and I want to do these things, and I want to run fast. And yeah, I have a lot of dreams and goals, but at the end of the day, like, just the pursuit of it, that's what really drives me, like, every day, you know. And I think the injury really helped me kind of see, like, you know, I can go through, like, an 8 week injury. It doesn't really matter that much, because I have a long-term plan, and I'm really, like, focused on doing what I can to, like, actually progress and see results in the future. My diet is simple, really. Yeah, it's just, I take a lot of inspiration from kind of the Japanese runners that I watch. You know, so I eat a lot of white rice, you know, just white rice, really good carbs, and then I also eat a lot of fish. So here I have tuna with kimchi and olive oil. I'm also really inspired by George Mills eating. You know, he's very simple, fermented vegetables, just single ingredients, and I try to emulate that a little bit, and I think it's helped me over the past few months, you know, to kind of get rid of some inflammation maybe in my body, and other areas I had, some other issues I had. So yeah, clean, simple eating, you know, I think it's really important. it's time to go soon. I'm obviously dressed in like a little bit of a more casual business outfit. We have a ceremony before the race. Today is just another day, another race. It's a good opportunity. I'm really excited actually. Like, haven't raced in how long is it now? August was last time, beginning of August. So 5 months, almost 6 months. Yeah, almost half a year, and like just being able to get an opportunity, run with some fast guys, it'll be fun. The outcome, it doesn't really matter. Like obviously it matters in terms of my planning, but I'm just happy to be back healthy and racing. So it's really exciting. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to head out like in 5 minutes. Um, I'm definitely a bit nervous. Like, I think more nervous of like the pain because I haven't felt anything like it in like half a year. Like I haven't raced, I haven't done any hard workouts. So I don't know. I'm ready to see how much it can hurt and what I can do. So yeah, I'm super excited. But I try not to get like too worked up with the races. Like you race so often in a year, if you get worked up every time, like it's the end of the world. I think you get burned out like mentally quite quickly. So just see it as what it is. You're running. You're gonna do it anyways. So you might as well be like a little bit less nervous. But I get it. Like I get nervous and but I try to use it as a positive. And I used to struggle with it a little bit. I get like a bit too nervous, but I think I found my like mechanisms, my whys, and I don't get as nervous anymore. So just excited to be out there. So all right, see you after the big day.